Hello everyone, welcome to the Retro Cellar, where in today's episode we'll be covering another Chinese handheld game console, this one known as the Powkiddy X39. It's got to be good, it has an X in the name, right? This thing's relatively new to the scene. I believe it popped up a couple months ago. I saw it on AliExpress where I actually got it for about $39.32, which is like $40.85 with tax. I've also seen it on a Banggood website called Geek Buying. You'll get anywhere from $40 to $50 is what I've pretty much seen it for. Although there was a website called newegg.com that's also selling it for $70.77. So obviously, shop around. You'll find it relatively reasonable. Now about this thing, let's go over the specs of it. It has a CPU, which is an ATM 7051 quad-core ARM Cortex clocked at 900 megahertz. It has a RAM, it's LPDDR2 128M. Has a 4.3-inch IPS screen with a 480 by 272 resolution. It says it's IPS. It's a good screen, don't get me wrong, but the viewing angles are not as you would like with an IPS screen, but we'll take a look at it. Has a SD support up to 64 gigabytes, USB Type-C charging, has a 2500 milliamp battery, has an HDMI out and two USB ports that you could actually plug controllers to and basically use this as a TV console. So that's actually kind of neat. Supports CPS, Final Burn Alpha, Famicom, Super Famicom, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Mega Drive, Neo Geo, and PlayStation 1. Comes loaded with about 4,000 games on it. I wish it would have had PC Engine on it. That would have really elevated this thing. But why don't we take a look at it and peruse around all the different features that it has and see if it's something that you would be interested in this forest of handheld consoles that are coming out on a weekly basis, it seems. But let's take a look at it. So before we take a closer look at this thing, why don't we do our usual pseudo unboxing of this. And this is the box of the Powkiddy X39. It's actually a really nice box. Nice solid one. Relatively no frills, but it shows you basically what you got around the system. Little warnings, I guess you can choke on the bag that it came in. Be careful, kids. Basically what it comes with. Another look around. But it's a box, what can I say? So let's open her up and see what we get inside. This would be the console itself. Let's get it out of here. Set that off to the side. Here's your short USB-C charging cable. Doesn't come with a brick, but I think everybody out there must have a drawer just loaded with those things. So to me, that's not that big of a deal that it doesn't have it. And the user manual for it. It's one of your standard basic ones. It shows you the functions, which aren't that hard to figure out. But here's our look at it. How about before we turn this thing on, let's take that off. That's always so satisfying. So here's a look at the console itself. As you can see, as I said, it has a decent sized screen. Again, it says it's IPS, but we'll turn it on and see what you think about that. Here is the analog stick, which is like a Nintendo Switch, although you can't press it and use it as another button function, but it's not bad. D-pad, it's got a nice short travel to it. It is actually pretty responsive. The buttons are buttony. They're not bad. You have your menu select and start button. On the top, You can see you have your L1, L2, R2, R1 buttons, which aren't bad, but unfortunately on my version here, the R2 button doesn't depress. Not that there's that many games that actually utilize that button, but it is kind of a bummer that it's not working right. And as you can see, you have the power button, USB Type-C, your HDMI out, your headphone jack, your volume buttons are up here. And down at the bottom, if this thing focuses, you can see it has two USB ports where you can put your wired controllers and use this as a TV console, your SD card, and reset button. And that is your look at the console. So why don't we turn it on and take a look at the menu. So here's the menu. It's relatively unique. I haven't seen that many other systems that use exactly this type of menu, but it's kind of harkens back to like the Pandora box kind of screens. But as you look around the top, you have your full list of games. Oops. You have your type, which shows you the systems that it runs. As I said before, has your CPS, Final Burn Alpha, Famicom, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Neo Geo, Super Famicom, Mega Drive, and PlayStation 1. Has your history of games that you play, favorites, a very nice search function, since it has 4,000 games on it on all those systems. It would suck if you had to scroll all the way through it. File where you can store your game, music, pictures, and video. And you're not going to use this for that. You got cell phones for that crap. And that's your look at the menu. So why don't we look at some games on the systems? We're not going to spend a lot of time going through it. There's 4,000, as I said. We'll do a couple of games, not even all the systems. Finishing on PlayStation 1 to show you what it can handle. Again, it's not a supercharged system, so it's going to struggle with a lot of PlayStation games. And the ones that they have on it are relatively cherry-picked. So why don't we just look around? When you want to get out of a game, you just press start and select, and it takes you to this menu where you can restart, return the game, save your games, and load your games. And there's also some settings you can do on it as well. These, by the way, are some of these settings that you can also do, which will be your sound output, keyboard mapping, screen size, which is nice, joystick mode, and reset settings. Jesus Christ. But let's turn the volume down a little bit. Just take a look at the screen. As I said, it's an IPS screen, but if you look at it, the viewing angles aren't perfect. I mean, it's not bad at all. One of the better screens, but it could be better. I know for some reason on my camera, some of these systems look like the screen is kind of tinted blue, but I assure you it's not. It's very well saturated, and the colors are very good on it, but it's a good screen. And I didn't mention it before, it's also a mono speaker that is pretty decent. It's not that tinny, and as far as I could tell with some of the games I played on it, there aren't really that many audio issues on it. The D-pad's better for this. Seems to be handling it just fine. There's a lot going on in the background. Sound is good. It seems to be okay. The sound is a little glitchy, it seems. But, I mean, it's a 3D game that is handling it relatively well. Just wish there were more PlayStation games on here, but what they're doing is cherry picking the games that play on this system. Ones that they know will perform. It's all in Japanese too. But, I mean, that's Silent Hill.
Cheryl? Is that Cheryl?
I guess that'll wrap up our look at the games. So there you have our look at the Powkiddy X39. One of the things I didn't mention with this when we had our close look at it was the actual build quality of it. It's actually really good. Plastic is pretty good on it. It's got some heft to it that I didn't actually expect. And it's a $40 price point. There are better systems out there. You know, Ambernick, you can get a Steam Deck and play ridiculously good systems on it. But for this price point, you can't go wrong. It's one of the better ones that I've seen for $40. Plays the 16-bit stuff very well. PlayStation, again, they cherry pick the games, but what's on it plays pretty good. And I certainly would recommend it. 4,000 games on this. You're going to get hours and hours and hours of play time out of this. And I'm actually glad I got it. If you're a collector, definitely pick it up. If you're just venturing into these little Chinese handheld consoles, this is a great starting point because you're not going to break the bank with it. Other than that, there's really not much else to say about it. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Peace out.